Greetings, dear people of God at Trinity and beloved friends beyond. Thank you for joining me for this week's Reflections from the Other Side. Tears have been a part of my life these past weeks. As some of you know, I was planning to preside at the Eucharist as a part of Annalise and Kevin's wedding ceremony a few weeks ago, but I contracted pneumonia, and having lost my voice, there was no way I could participate. Thank heaven the ceremony was live streamed. At least I could watch. It was when Annalise walked down the aisle with her parents on either side that the tears began to flow and flow. Tears of joy. I watched the ceremony through a veil of tears, even as I laughed out loud at various moments in the service, like the dramatic, romantic, adorable kiss that caused Annalise's veil to tumble. Side note, that was my own wedding veil, something borrowed. The energy, the joy, and the love were palpable, even over live stream. Tears of joy. Who can attend a graduation without weeping? All that pomp and circumstance, the triumphant, innocent moment of transition when any past struggles or future fears disappear. Tears of pride. Tears of gladness at the birth of the tiny son of the daughter of one of my dearest friends. Tears as I read aloud the Episcopal bishop's litany after a mass shooting. Read the dozens and dozens and dozens of names of places and numbers of people murdered there by guns in the last few years. Tears of anger as I listened to the testimonies of those in charge of security in Uvalde. Tears of sadness as I read about the children whose lives were lost there. And I had a CT scan a week ago, my first since the surgery. It's not that I constantly live in dread that the cancer has returned, but the scan did feel like a moment of truth. It was a reminder that I had lived for who knows how long with a large tumor growing at the juncture between my esophagus and my stomach, and I didn't even know it. Didn't know it until the tumor got so large that I developed symptoms and reached out for help to understand what was happening. I remember as if it was yesterday hearing the doctor's words over the phone, "You have cancer." Often over the years, I have prayed with parishioners who were about to undergo diagnostic procedures or to hear the results. Now I know from my own experience how terrifying that can be. I received the results over the phone from my wonderful Dr. George Polsides, who incidentally is attending Trinity with his family. Even before he told me that my scan was perfect, I knew it was good news from his tone of voice, and I wept with relief and gratitude. So I've been doing a lot of weeping lately, which is why my eye was caught by an article in the periodic message online called Daily Om. It was about tears. I found it inspiring, and I hope you will too. How wonderful it feels to give in at last and let the tears flow when we are overwhelmed with emotions, whether we are happy or sad. Tears come from the soul, from our well of feelings rising from deep down. When we give in to the prickling behind our eyes and the lump in our throat to let teardrops fall from our eyes, we allow our feelings to surface so that they can be set free. Proud parents shed tears of pride in a child's accomplishments, a baby's first step, birthdays, graduations. Long-lost friends fall into each other's arms, tears rolling down their cheeks while they reunite after years of separation. Tears may flow from us when we are a witness to a commitment being made at a wedding, or even while we are watching a love story. Tears of relief may spring forth from our eyes when we hear that a loved one has survived an ordeal, and tears may fall when we bow our head in sorrow over a loss or death. Tears born from heartache can flow like they'll never cease, whether our tears are for a love that is over, a friendship lost, or an opportunity missed. We shed tears because of disappointment in ourselves, tragedy in the world, and pain and illness. Tears of anger can burn with emotion as they fall down our faces. Tears offer us a physical release of our feelings. Shedding tears can sometimes make us feel better, although it can feel like the tears will never end once the floodgates are open. There is no shame in letting tears flow freely and frequently. Tears are as natural to us as is breathing. There's beauty in allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to shed tears. Open up, release your tears, and let your feelings flow. And so, people of God, dear friends, Let us allow ourselves to be vulnerable and open up and let our tears flow for whatever reason. For in Ecclesiastes we hear, "For everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, at a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to stow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace." Amen.